The Cleveland Cavaliers has officially swept the Miami Heat and advanced to the second round. And my thoughts and takes on that is, well, before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe, and hit that comment section below. But my takes and my opinions on that is just, this is the Cleveland Cavaliers team. I think this Cleveland Cavaliers team is a little bit different. I think they is really ready to take their next step and, ultimately finally get over that hump. Now, this team been together, the last 3-4 years, and they've been straddling the fence, scratching the surface. And now it looks like this is the team that's finally destined to look like a team that can bound to make a finals appearance, make a real title shot, or at least a Eastern Conference appearance. And that's really how we basing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everything that they did this season, I'm not saying to go overlook, because they had a hell of a season. One of the I think they was the second best record team in the NBA and all of the association, best team in the Eastern Conference. Things like that. You got contributions from Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and Darius Garland, and things like that of that nature. But how we was gonna truly judge the Cleveland Cavaliers is how they performed in the postseason. And after this first round, I liked everything that I seen, because this is a team that's coming in and looking to handle business. Now, with that being said, with them sweeping the Heat, this is what I was looking for. I didn't want the Cleveland Cavaliers to end up making this series longer than what it should have been. They didn't play with their opponent, they didn't play with their fool, and they end up handling business and sweeping the Miami Heat, which they was a clearly better team than. And that's what I was looking for. You didn't want to, prolong this series any longer than what it should. If you really a championship team, you supposed to go out there and prove it. Okay, we just so much better than you. In these last two games, when you playing on the road, and you in the Miami Heat building, you ran them out the gym. And that is signs of level of growth and signs of we ready to take that next step. I think this is finally the year that we finally get to see the Cleveland Cavaliers do it. Now, God forbid that any injuries happen to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the next round, whomever they play, whether that's the Detroit Pistons or the New York Knicks. But this series right here showed me a lot, because even when Darius Garland didn't play these last two games and they was still beating the brakes, I'm talking about putting real leather belt to the Miami Heat. I think after the first quarter, bro, it was 19-43. I'm talking about giving them real leather belt, giving them one of them whoopings that you did, man. Have y'all ever got a whooping from y'all granny with a switch? Man, it was one of them whoopings, man. I'm talking about them old school granny whoopings. When you ain't did something you supposed. I'm talking about one of them whoopings. She give you that look in church, and knowing you in that mud being loud, causing havoc in church. She give you that look like, I'm gonna get you at the church, and she give you one of them good whoopings. That's exactly what the Cleveland Cavaliers gave to Miami Heat the last two games. And that just give me that's a sign of them heading in the right direction, trending in the right direction. A team that's focused at the main task at hand, and that's getting to an NBA championship, an NBA Finals appearance. Ever since DeAndre Hunter came over there, he has been playing great. Ty Jerome, I can't stress this enough. Role players has been a premium in these playoffs, and if this don't show you nothing else, is that role players matter. You got guys like Ty Jerome, who's been a hell of a piece. He had a double-double last game, had near to a double-double in this game. Been a phenomenal player off the bench for the Cleveland Cavaliers, coming in and making key plays, knocking down shots. He playing with confidence. He getting his team involved. He rebounding. He making an impact on winning. And that's what role players are supposed to do in the playoffs, especially when your star guy's not getting it going. You need somebody else to be able to, offset that, to take off the load and be able to step up and contribute. Ty Jerome did just that. Jay McDaniels is another guy I want to give praise and heat to. Also Dennis Schroeder, Dennis the Menace. Shout out Dennis the Menace. You also got guys like Naz Reid, who been helping the Timberwolves mount that comeback in the last game against the Los Angeles Lakers. Role players have been a premium in these playoffs. And you cannot win without them. I don't care how much star power you got. If you don't got somebody off that bench or somebody in that starting lineup who gonna be able to elevate his game to be able to impact winning, as you see, all the team that is up 3-1, all the team that is, aside from the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets series, which Nicholas Batum has been a phenomenal role piece. Also, Russell Westbrook had been a phenomenal role piece. Both of those guys I just named, even with the series being tied 2-2, both of those guys has impacted, their series in impact and winning. Both of the games that they, two of the games that each team won, besides from the last game with the Denver Nuggets, because obviously Russell Westbrook ain't played. But in game one, Russell Westbrook had his fingerprints all over the game, and that was the key factor of why they won game one. Nicholas Batum, he turned around and followed that performance up from what Russell Westbrook did and tried to one-up him, and he was knocking down big shot after big shot. Contested draped all over him, and that's what you need your role players to do. You don't need your role players to go out and have, a all-star level stat line, a superstar level stat line. But the thing is, what you need your role players to do is make timely baskets, get timely stops, and make timely things happen for your team. And the teams that are up 3-1, those are the role players that is helping their team in a positive way. You look at the New York Knicks and Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. You look at the Boston Celtics and Derek White, Al Horford. You look at the Cleveland Cavaliers and Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, who then scored in double figures in back-to-back games. Ty Jerome had a double-double. You look at the Minnesota Timberwolves with Jay McDaniels. He had 2 games in this series with 25 plus. Playing out excellent defense on Luka. You got Nas Reed hitting big time timely shots down the stretch, end up helping them prevail this team into, winning a ball game. You get guys like in this Golden State Warriors series like Pods. You got guys like Buddy Hield, who's coming off the bench, who's coming in and give you extra than what you anticipated. Role players matter. And that's what this series have showed me. But to get back to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think they look ready. They look like a team that's hungry. They look like the team that's focused. And we all knew that we were going to have to judge and give our true expectations on the Cleveland Cavaliers wasn't based on what they did in the regular season. Even though we don't want to shine upon or throw under the rug on their success in the regular season, because they had a phenomenal season, a historic pace, and things like that, a historic season in the Cleveland Cavaliers franchise. But the thing is, we didn't care how good you was in the regular season. Would you be able to translate what you did in the regular season and implement that into a playoff setting? And so far, with sweeping the Miami Heat, which, like I said, there was a clear-cut better team. No doubt about it. But the thing is, you didn't want to let them get a game and have to make this series longer than what it is. Because there's no way that this Miami Heat team can be able to compete with you, and that's what championship teams do. When they are better than another team, you don't give them hope. You seen what Memphis, what OKC did, put a historic butt whooping on them. In years we haven't seen a playoff game won by 50 plus points. OKC did that. OKC swept them Memphis Grizzlies, coming back down from 30 points in the second half, sweeping them. That's what championship level teams and teams that are looking for to hit their next gear, hit their next level. That's what you look for out of championship team. As you look at Boston last year, they wasn't playing with their opponent. They weren't playing with their food. The longest series that they went was against the was against the Dallas Mavericks, and that was 5 games. I'll take that back. That was against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that was 6 games, if I'm not mistaken. They beat Cleveland in 6. They beat Miami in 5. They swept the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they beat the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games in the NBA Finals. That's what you look for in championship teams. And with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they showed me a lot in this first round. Now, obviously, they're going to have to keep doing this You know, when if they're a superior team, regardless who they play in the next round, I feel like they are good enough to be able to beat them and see themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's the bare minimum goal for them right now. If anything short of the Eastern Conference Finals, failure of a season. Failure of a season. But nonetheless, I want to congratulate the Cleveland Cavaliers, you know, on advancing to the second round, being the second team to advance to the second round with a sweep. As we've seen, both number one seeds from each conference swept their opponent. So they did what they supposed to do. You know, they living up to, okay, they did what they did in the regular season. Now they're going to be able to do it in the playoffs. And both teams, both number one seeds was superior to the opponents that they played, and they showed it. And now they looking to, you know, they getting rest, they getting prepared, and they're ready for next round. And that's all I really got for this. Y'all let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Is this the time to, you know, finally get over that hump and get to and finally reach an NBA final since LeBron has left Cleveland? You know, or next round, or is this just, you know, they were just so much better than the Miami Heat? They had no choice to win this series, and ultimately. But I want to just look at it like that, because, like, I be trying to tell people, all wins and losses is not, you know, they don't equal the same. Because you can win a ball game, but if it's not the way you supposed to win or how I look, now don't get me wrong, you know, in the playoffs you get it how you live. But the thing is, when you so much of a superior team, you so much of a better team than the other team, you know, if you barely getting by and scapegoating, what you think you're gonna do to a team that's on the same level playing field as you? They got the same amount of talent as you. You in the world of hurting. But that's why I said the Cleveland Cavaliers, they came up to handle business, and they showed the Miami Heat don't belong on the same court as us. And that's the step that I needed to see right there from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I'm going to see y'all. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that comment section below. And whenever we see what's going on with the New York Knicks, Detroit Pistons, we're going to talk about that series and give my previews on how the next round going to shape up. But right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they can enjoy this first round series, but the job not finished. Kenny Atkinson, he been doing a terrific job in his first year with the Cleveland Cavaliers. It seemed like he got these guys locked in mentally, physically. Darius Garland didn't play the last 2 games, and things did not change. Next man up mentality. So y'all let me know in the comments, do y'all think Cleveland really got a chance this year to make it to the NBA Finals? Cause to me, I think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. They ain't got to see Boston to the ECL. They got the winner of the Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks, which I feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers is better than both of those teams. But you never know in the playoffs right now. Like I said, they were so much of a inferior team to the Miami Heat. Once they play a team with almost the same level of talent, or on the same level of talent-wise, you know, things can get a little shaky, get a little dicey. But nonetheless, good series from the Cleveland Cavaliers. They came out and handled business. They showed they got what it takes to be a championship level team in the first round. We're getting those guys up out of there, and that's what you wanted to see. You wanted to see domination, and they did just that throughout this whole series, not letting up, not even giving the Miami Heat chance to even think they got a shot to even win a game. And not the series, a game. And that's growth right there. And I'm going to see y'all next time, man. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that comment section below.